Hello and welcome. I'm Steve Kopecki, president and owner of Compass Performance, Inc., where we are passionate about empowering leaders and businesses to reach their full potential. As the host of the Simplify, Lead, and Grow podcast, I'm excited to bring to you powerful strategies, game-changing growth hacks, and insights that will inspire you to take your business to the next level. At Compass, we guide organizations, teams, and entrepreneurs to streamline their approach and focus on what truly matters, using tools like 80/20. Our goal is to set the stage for rapid, profitable growth by working smarter, not harder, and fostering a culture of continuous learning and long-term success. Today's episode is a special one. I just had a conversation with David, and I'm thrilled to introduce you to David Twite, the owner and president of MacDonald Owen Lumber. This company empowers businesses by providing top quality wholesale wood products. Join us as David shares how they honor tradition while building the future, pioneering excellence and making sustainable wood products accessible worldwide. Welcome, David.
Hey, it's great to be here, Steve, and I love what you do. I think there's nothing in my mind more exciting than the guy out there is saying, hey, I want to try my hand at business. And I meet with people probably weekly that are doing that. And it is the thrill. So I think if you get less bruises when you're coaching, but it's great to coach people. And if I can inspire anybody on their journey, that'd be fabulous today.
Yeah, you're right. I love coaching. Whether it's youth baseball or business owners and people that are starting out their businesses. Can you tell us a little bit about your history and the business that you run today and own today?
Yeah, my business, I'm in the hardwood lumber business. I sell hardwood lumber globally. Lumber products, meaning hardwood, which is red oak, white oak, ash, butternut, hickory. So furniture, millwork, molding, flooring. It really started, when I was just out of college. I had a guy at my church that owned a lumber company. And he said, I want you to come work for me. I said, what do you do? He said, I'm in the lumber business. I said, that sounds kind of boring. I thought, I'm going to work at Lowe's or Menards and have a nail belt and help people with 2x4s. I didn't realize that it was an industry that's been around that really built. I'm in La Crosse, Wisconsin. La Crosse was built by lumber people. Mm-hmm. The big park here is called Pettibone Park. And lumber was a critical part of our America and building Chicago, and all the lumber that came out of northern Wisconsin, above the Neopet Indian Range is what built Chicago. So I thought it was kind of boring, but it ended up being quite exciting, and somehow it's turned into my life's vocation. So it was fun to show up. So bought a bunch of companies along the way, have companies here in Wisconsin. I have 2 in Luck, Wisconsin. I mentioned you. The first one I bought was the original Duncan yo-yo factory, made all the yo-yos in the world, which were made out of hard maple. So it was a lumber company. Bought that company. The guy that owned that built another facility about a 3-wood away that I bought a year and a half later. In the last several years, have a company in Kentucky and one in Pennsylvania. I have a full-time guy in China right now. And we supply, which I think is nature's most beautiful resource, which is lumber, to really transform a world, beautify a world. I think of lumber as like the table that you're sitting around, probably I am sitting around right now. It's kitchen tables that people eat their food around. It's the Final Four basketball games are played on maple that many times has come from our sawmills that we use. So it is a beautiful resource. We love to do it, and we have fun, and we make friends in the process. So that's awesome. We're in the lumber business.
Oh, that sounds great. Sounds great. What are some of the misconceptions that are common about running a business and how do you address them?
Well, I'm going to say common misconceptions. Everybody comes to me, even young people. I say, what do you want to do in life? I want to be an entrepreneur, right? Here's what we'll say about business. You're a business coach. This will make it simple. Business is, it's going to be harder than you think. It's going to cost more money than you think. It's going to take longer than you think. And so if you can get over that idea and be okay with that, I think then you have at least the great first step. If you go into it realistically, you won't give up, I think, in the formula. But business to me, if you have to see it as a game that you love to play, right? It's a game. Even when I was a kid, I loved business because it was this crazy little game that somehow people would pay you if you did something. When I was a little kid, I would sell seeds to my neighbors and greeting cards from National Greeting Card Company. And I couldn't believe that I could just go up to a door and show them some cards and everybody would buy these cards and I'd make money. And I'm thinking, why isn't everybody doing this? This just seems too easy.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you're a kid. Here's the crazy thing is, the kid will come to your door from the Cub Scouts with a thing of popcorn for $20 and you'll buy it because you can't say no to them, right? So
Right.
to me, that just gave me this heart that I'm going to do something like that. I think that's a lot of fun. And so but the misconception is, anybody can do it. It's going to be easy. And I think that's the biggest misconception. Business is thrilling. It's worth it. But if you think it's really, really easy, as if you're not going to have some level of sacrifice, I think that you'll probably not make it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good advice. I mean, because I think a lot of people that are starting out businesses are also, they have a sort of a dreaming sort of piece to them, right? And about
Right.
what they could possibly do with the business and keep it real, you know, and realize that you're gonna, as George Bush, I think, once said, you know, it's a tough job and you got to work weekends.
You got to work weekends. I think the other thing that people don't realize is that every business in some way is a people business, right? It's a people business. So if you don't have a heart for people, it's really going to be complicated. I think that that people don't realize, you have to realize that everybody that either works for you or you sell to, they are looking for some kind of inspirational leader.
Mhm.
The blocking and tackling of business, I think, is teachable and is easy. If you ask most business owners and your coach, the biggest problem tends to not be the blocking and tackling the basics of their business. It's managing and motivating their people, right?
Mhm.
It's getting good people, managing and motivating people. And I think that I spend more time talking to my friends who are in business, how to navigate through those things. And if you can find great people, motivate them, keep them delighted, make them feel loved and valued, and they have and let them go in their area of talent, it's a much more fun game and an easier game. But it is people is, if you can't manage people well, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest misconception.
Very good. Yeah. I got a garden, and I've talked about this with people before, and some relatively young children yet. So we tend to want to put a whole bunch of things in the garden to try and, you know, grow just about everything.
Yeah.
And I just this last year recognized as we went through, and it looked over in the corner, we have a city lot, and that it was pretty full of all sorts of things, but nothing was really growing. It was just, and he didn't know what a weed was and what was really a tomato plant. So I went through and I wouldn't say I hatched it, but I took out a lot and really focused on a few things. Do you have any examples of and tools that you've used and sort of flags that said maybe it's time that we simplify our business a little bit before we try to continue to grow it?
Well, we had tremendous growth. We've been on the Inc. Magazine picks their fastest growing privately held companies in America. We've made their list again this year for the 9th time. And to someone who started out really as a sales guy, growth and selling more must be easy, must be good.
Yeah.
And what I think that I first realized as a young person who grew a business really fast, the business was great, but what's the thing that usually the wall you hit when business grows really fast? Cash flow, right? Cash flow, managing cash flow. And so I didn't realize that, you know, my banker came in and said, now you're going to have a cash flow problem because you're growing so fast. I'm thinking, do you realize how busy we are? And we're making money. The problem is that we have to pay our bills faster than the cash that comes in. And that's where most businesses seem to suffer. It's a cash flow problem, right? In their early stages, they grow too fast and they don't know how to manage that. So we learned about sweeps and swaps. I've never heard about a sweep or swap. So you can get the bank that'll give you just enough money instead of loaning you a long-term loan. You have this available money that can come in for the 10, 12, 14 days until your customers pay you. And that was like my first, like, I needed to learn that. They didn't tell me that in school. So
Right.
there's going to be lots of lessons like that. And I think that the other thing that there's lots of those kind of experiences that if you get beside good business people or business coaches, they can help you navigate through some of those landmines, because there's going to be some things that tend to blow people up. And so that was one where I've aligned myself with a banker that has become my best friend, and he is brilliant. And my broker, who is brilliant and that you trust. You have to find your mavens that are outside of your own circle, that are not necessarily in your circle, in your business, but they'll give you honest advice, and they're experts in other areas, because you don't want to navigate alone. I mean, too many people want to be the genius with a million helpers that I don't need anybody else because I'm really smart. I'd rather say, I think I know what I'm going to do, but I want to surround myself with super savvy people. And that's made my life quite easy.
Really smart, or want to try and figure it out for themselves, right? Before they bring other people in.
Well, you can learn. You can learn on your own, but the price of tuition is pretty high, right? If you get slammed with something that was avoidable if you would have just asked another business leader and go have lunch with a business owner and say, what do you guys do about this? How are you managing? Insurance is a big one that people get their butts kicked on. And there's an easy way around that. But most people right now take these 20, 30% increases every year, and they assume that's my only option. But they don't realize that, finally I got sick and tired of hearing it. And I said, I'm going to find an option. We found an option that works brilliantly and works good for our people. It's cost effective and puts money in their pocket, and they get good health care. That's what we did.
It sounds like you solved many problems there.
Yeah, we did.
Many pain points. That's great. How do you maintain, because you seem like you have lots of energy. So how do you maintain work-life balance? And, what sort of personal habits do you have that keep you motivated and focused? You've been doing this for a while. So
yeah, I think that the problem that I had, and this is true of some entrepreneurs too, I literally said, I'm going to kill myself for 5 years. I'm going to just go crazy. And it becomes your obsession, your focus, which is probably good and it's also bad, because you can get stuck in this idea that, especially if you have a wife or home and children, right? That too many guys, your job is your mistress, right?
Yeah.
If your job becomes your mistress and your marriage becomes problematic, if you want to wreck your life, just go ahead and not keep that in balance. So I think the biggest problem that I had to deal with in my life because of early success was pride. Pride is an enemy of leadership and of good entrepreneurs, because they begin to, especially as they begin to see success, nobody wants to be around the proud person. You're no longer a servant leader. You feel a little bit entitled. And for me, I think I had to do something. I remember one day I went to a seminar, big conference in Colorado, and a guy said, if you had 5 days to live, what would be important to you? And I thought, you know what? It's not how much money I had. It's not how many customers I had. It's not how big a house I had. What would be important to me would be that my family knew, my wife knew that she was loved, my kids knew that they were loved. I would want to make sure that I had relationships quality that people said, man, Dave made a difference in my life. And I think that if you're come from a spiritual side, which I have a Christian side of my life, that I want to make sure that I'm right with my creator. So those were the only two things on my list, right? And I realized I was killing myself trying to impress my neighbors, right? The guy down the road, my competitors. What I realized is, Steve, that none of my neighbors, none of my competitors were laying awake thinking about me at night, right?
Yeah.
And so we kill ourselves trying to impress people that don't care. They don't really care. And so I remember coming home from that time and I said, I have to get humble. And there's a Bible verse that says, humble yourself. So I remember thinking, I'm going to get on my knees in the morning. Hard to be real prideful when you're on your knees. So I did that. That was my way of getting humble. The first thing I thought of was, what if my wife comes in, which is obviously because you're proud. And she did. She came in and she got on her knees beside me. And I start my day every day like that, even today, that somehow I recognize that everything that I have is somehow a gift. I have a trust that's been entrusted to me. I want to be faithful in that assignment. And I think that starting that way in the morning, as crazy as that habit might sound to some of your listeners, for me, it was really critical because there's some enemies to success. If you're not careful, they'll kill you. And that's what slayed the dragon for me.
Yeah, I hear you. And it doesn't seem like it's all that impossible to happen, that it's very likely that it will happen unless you do figure out how to humble and engage the right people in your life, right?
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Excellent. So thank you for sharing that. What are some future plans that you have and goals for your business?
Well, we've been a lumber company since I started. In the last few years, we bought other companies. And so what we found was you have to innovate in our industry. I think that, so we started buying companies that made components rather than just selling lumber. We make casing base, molding, trim, ripped lumber. So we do some value added to things, which we found two things. One is that it was a better margin item and it created stickier customers. Much more complicated because you're not simply selling a commodity now. So once you make a product for you and you alone, it's if you don't take it, it might not be able to be used by anybody else. So it's a more complicated product, but once you figure it out with customers, they stay stickier, they stay longer, and the margin's better. So the last couple of years, I made the decision, we are a lumber company that will do maybe $130 million in lumber, that we're going to become a dimension facility, meaning we make wood components that happens to own a lumber company, instead of a lumber company that happens to own dimension facilities. So now we're at about 40% of our business is now these wood components. And so we're going to do that. And we think that the other thing that's going to happen is there's going to be more consolidation in most industries, find good partners and come alongside them and have strategic alliances. They'll create better partnerships, have longer, more deeper relationships with your customers. So you say, we're going to help you. We do analytics. So our software that we've developed on our end is the best software in our industry. So I can tell our customers, based on our analytics, I can tell them what their needs are better than they know from the inside. I can tell them what their trends are better than they know. And I think that the more we begin to show them that we're more than just selling your product, that I can actually counsel you on a better way to do it, a smarter way to buy it. Why are you buying lumber? We should just sell you a wood component because it'll be cheaper. It'll turn into profit faster. If we can be that type of supplier that really provides solutions, meaningful bottom line solutions for our customers, and we do it honestly and ethically, and they like us and they become our friends, it just creates these long-term relationships where you're not trying to regain your business every year with somebody else. Deep relationships are critical to us.
How has, because I'm interested to hear a little bit about how the customer has changed, the demographics of the customer, has it during this whole, adding more value to the end product?
Well, they've migrated to it, because to me, it's Wayne Gretzky said, I'm not a hockey player, not because I get to the puck, is because I know where the puck is going. If you watch what's happened the last several years, COVID, what was the problem? You couldn't get employees. And the price of an employee when you got them was going up. So some of our manufacturers are the metropolitan areas. Why should you buy lumber from me, pay a guy to rip it and chop it, and you bought all this sawdust that shipped on a truck down to you? How about I do it in Luck, Wisconsin or Pennsylvania, and I'll ship it to you pre-cut to a size that you're actually going to use, and you're going to turn over your inventory faster, which is another thing. Any entrepreneur, any business, they have to know that turning your inventory is magic for your balance sheet, right? If you hold on to inventory, I'm not a lumber collector. I want to turn over inventory. So some people fall in love with inventory. Don't fall in love with your inventory. If you have inventory that sits around, you should move it. You should get rid of it. In fact, people say that you can lower the price. The other thing people don't realize, if you have a product, you can give it to a 501c3 and it's cost plus half cost, you're write-off. Now,
Right.
why would you discount it to 20%? Do that. That's a better deal. So
Yeah.
we find that you have to use every strategy. So if you're a business person, you're going to be a little bit of a lawyer, a little bit of an accountant, a little bit of a strategist, a little bit of a psychologist, and a little bit of a party planner, right? And if you put all that together, you'll develop a good enterprise.
Wow, that's incredible. You just gave some nice nuggets there for people to think about. What other advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs that are just starting out?
Well, I thought about that, and I thought I kind of thought there are a couple of things. I call them my 5 Ps for success, right? 5 Ps. What are the things you have to have? One is your planning. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're not doing a good plan, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? Get a good plan. You just don't go into it saying, I'll figure out what I'm going to do as I go along the way. The better you're understanding what you're going to do and what you're all about, that's totally critical. They say luck is preparation, where preparation meets opportunity, right? You're prepared, you made a plan. I think the biggest thing, they did a study, they said the greatest characteristic of an entrepreneur who's successful, number 1, here it is. Persistence. Persistence is it seems to be all about that. The road to success that I think in any business is going to be marked with potholes, difficulties, and challenges. Okay. The ones who make it through the potholes, difficulties, and challenges because they're persistent, they may get knocked down, but they keep getting back up because they have this drive within them that I'm going to make it work. If you don't have that kind of characteristic, you'll give up too easily. And this is why most people work for somebody else, right? Is because somebody else will go through the hard thing and you'll work for somebody else. It's safer, but if that's what the goal of the people who are watching this, they got to figure out how am I going to be have perseverance. I think that's really critical. Somebody said nothing will ever in the world will ever take the place of perseverance. So that's number 1. You gotta, I think that one of the reasons why I think we succeeded is in some ways I was perseverant because I didn't know what I couldn't do, right? So when I built my business, everybody was putting lumber outside on like lean-to sheds, and I said, I'm going to put it inside. I'm going to put it in a building so people can load trucks indoors and outdoors. I had couple of old guys from the business that were like, they were big companies. They said, you can't do it that way. I said, why? Well, nobody does it that way. I said, I think I'm going to do it that way. And it's worked out really well. They say a bumblebee aerodynamically shouldn't fly, right? It shouldn't be able to fly because of how it's designed. Why does it fly, even though it aerodynamically is not supposed to fly? It doesn't know it can't, right?
Yeah, right.
So sometimes this idea that if you just tell yourself, I think I could do this, it's amazing how many walls you'll bust through if you have that idea that I think I could do this. It's this positivity and perseverance that go together. I think that's a big deal. And I think that the other thing is passion. You have to have a passion about what you do. Somebody said if you mix your passion with your career, Steve, you'll never work a day in your life. So if you're not passionate about what you do, I don't think you'll be in it for the long haul, and I don't think you'll stay in it during the hard times. You have to have a passion for what you do. And the other thing about passion, it's kind of contagious, right? It's like, come on, are you going with me? We're gonna change the world. If you don't have that kind of feeling, nobody really wants to get on board the I'm not sure I can make it train, right? Come on board the Hindenburg. Hope we make it, right? So to me, it's passion. And I think the other thing, another P principle is your people. If you surround yourself with great people, that's critical. So I always say, find people that are probably smarter than you in different areas and get to know them. Surround yourself with people. They say you're an average of your 5 closest friends, from even your friends. If you have friends that are just making bad choices, living dumb lives, you will be an average of your 5 closest friends. So I say, pick your friends well, find a mentor, right? Find a mentor, because they're out there. Every business owner, they're guys, this, Steve, every business owner that's good, if you're a friend with them, they'd be happy to tell you They'd be happy to give you advice. So find people that you admire how they live and how they do their life, and just say, could I go buy you coffee? Can I do this? And it's shocking how much information I can glean when I find a business owner that I know. And I said, man, we're going to sit down and we kind of share our thoughts and discoveries and realize, hey, do you know there's a grant for that? You get a grant. So we just did a deal in Luck, Wisconsin. There's a grant for solar. Okay. A $2 million project. How much does the government pay, Steve, for a $2 million solar project? Ready? 1 million.
Yeah.
They pay 50%. What's the payback? Less than 3 years. Okay. Then my power is now free. It's good deal or bad deal? Good deal. Is power prices going up? Going up. So that's why I say, hang around people that are telling you stuff you didn't learn in school. It's going on, and I think you got to be innately curious. So people. I think your principles are the big thing. What are your principles that guide you? I think you should be authentic, because if you're a leader, but you're putting posters on the wall that tell you how you love your people, but they know you don't, they're not going to believe you. Authenticity that combines with your passion, your care of people, you will surround yourself with a good team, and the good teams always win. So to me, that would be a big deal. The last thing would be your ability. I said I put prudence as my other P. Prudence would be your ability to manage your money. Sometimes you got to be patient. It's the guy that says, hey, I'm going to get into the building trade. And the first thing they do is they quit their job working for a builder. They go out and buy a brand new truck, as nice as you can get, brand new tools, all the logoed wear. And statistically, Steve, 20% of new businesses go out within the first 2 years, right? And probably in that realm, it's higher. It's higher than that. And so to me, I just say, if you could be prudent and smart about your money and know how to keep a balance sheet safe, that's a big deal. But I will tell you, business, as scary as it might seem, every great thing in your life is 1 inch, 1 foot beyond what your fears. It's always every great thing. If you ever got married and got engaged, that was scary, right? Good deal. If you buy a house, oh my gosh, I'm signing my life away. It seems scary. Great deal. Now you have your third house and a third business. So the people that can step beyond, safely beyond logical fear things like that, they're the ones that take risks. So entrepreneurs, they're all risk takers, right?
Right.
All risk takers. And if you can put those principles together, you could be prudent, you can have the right principles, you have people around you, and you have a passion. I think that you can not only create a business, you can thrive in that business. And really, I enjoy waking up and going to it. It's like, let's go play the game. Remember, business is a game. You play it with your friends, right? There's a way to keep score, profit loss. There's rules, there's laws and things like that. At the end of the day, if you make it fun, you just simply go play a game with your friends every day. And you play fair by the rules, and somehow you get paid for that. That's a beautiful thing.
That's awesome. I want to stop record because I want to be able to go back and look at some of this. So really, in the tools that you use, like the 5 Ps, I appreciate that. And I keep on thinking, you got to have a book out there. If you don't, it's certainly something that's next for you.
Well, like I say, Steve, your passion is to come alongside business guys, right? You chose it as a career, but excitement for you. What gives you value in your day? If I provide a solution for somebody, if I make somebody's life better, I got people right now that I'm helping in their business, and they're millionaires. I said if you just do what I tell you to do, if you do it. Here's what you owe me. You owe me a steak dinner, right? Steak dinner. That's all I want. Steak dinner. Because the greatest satisfaction is paying it forward, right? Pay it forward. And so the lessons that you have learned in your time is to have a new guy that comes in. I keep them. I want them to look for 2 things: obstacles and opportunities. What are the obstacles to your success? And what are the opportunities you have to take advantage of? If I get people to recognize where their obstacles and opportunities are and know how to take advantage of them, and they're teachable, I think that it's fun. It's really exciting to me. The most exciting thing for me is to meet with men who are really, truly wanting to do something good in this world, in their business, and help other people get jobs and income. And let's make it happen. And sometimes, Steve, that comes with, if you want advice, here's the biggest thing. Find good people and take their advice. And sometimes the advice they're going to give you may not be what you want to hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I had $1 for every time I've talked people out of doing a business they wanted to do, I'd say it's most of the time. I had a woman come to me. She said, I want to meet with you. I want to start a business. I said, okay. Went to the coffee shop. I said, what's your business? She said, I want to start a coffee shop in Holman, Wisconsin. I said, how much capital do you have? She said, none. Okay. I said, have you have coffee experience? No, none. I said, this is going to be really easy. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Because you don't have the capital, you don't have the knowledge. And I know people that have the knowledge and the capital have already shut their business down trying to do that same enterprise there. So that makes it easy. Let's find out what your passions are and realign you into something else. And it was photography for her. And so let's become a photographer. Do that. You'll make some money. You won't go bankrupt. And I've had people that didn't listen to me, honestly, Steve, that one guy lost his wife because he took his 401k and wanted to build a restaurant in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And he said, oh yeah, all the guys in the morning are going to come and do our, it was barbecue and Asian, but we'll do some breakfast in the morning and everybody's going to come and have breakfast here. I said, don't think so. And he sold out his 401k, unbeknownst to his wife, lost his home, lost everything else. And I said, meeting one, don't do it. Don't do it. So some people, if you're going to be good, find people that you trust and listen to their advice. If people that you're talking to have a shipwreck of their own life, their own business, don't take their advice, right? Because you'll have people that will patronize you on anything. If you said, I want to do a widget business, and everybody goes, well, that sounds great, Dave. You should do it, right? It's the guy that asks you hard questions and says, you know what? I don't think that you're ready right now. Listen to that person. Your enthusiasm sometimes gets ahead of your intellect. So make sure that you listen to those people that might want to slow you down or maybe turn you in another direction, because it will maybe save you a lot of headache. Just because somebody will borrow you the money doesn't mean it's a good deal.
Right. They're not shutting you down because for the purpose of shutting you down. They're redirecting you, and they're there for you and to help you potentially find that direction. They're not saying, don't do this and okay, see you.
And a guy in Colorado just called me. He said, yeah, I bought this land and I hawked everything I had to get the land because I want to build some apartments. Hawked everything I have. I want to build some apartments. And now I'm in trouble. What do I do? I said, sell the land. Well, this was a really good deal. I said, you could listen to this one. You could go broke buying good deals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good deals. Because if you don't have the capital to do with them what you're supposed to do, your dream alone won't get you there. You have to you either got to find a partner that's your equity partner, or sell the land so you can keep your family from losing the home, right? Yeah. But these are the kind of things that I think are, you think you wouldn't hear those type of things, but I'm really quite surprised by some of the choices people make, because they make emotional choices, not intellectual choices. And they have choices that they haven't really checked with people that might be more skilled at giving them advice on that, and they just move forward. So anybody that's out there, I just say, find yourself a mentor or coach, because without a mentor or coach, you're kind of flying by the seat of your pants, right?
Yeah, right.
And there's a million and one things that could take you out that you could avoid, because we'll give you a little bit of a weather report. We'll tell you what not to do, right? This is what you do. I'll tell you how to navigate safely to where you're going. And but then sometimes if you have those coaches, and if you have those people that are your guides. I have a guy that has a big food company or big packaging company. He had one of his companies that wasn't going to pay him. It was $1 million. Okay. It was a kid that his father had a business. He'd come walking with me every day. And he said, my father has a pain reliever product that he makes, and that's his business. I said, do you work there? Yeah. I said, why don't you buy your dad out? I don't know how to do that. So he came walking, drive 40 minutes to see me every morning. He'd come walking with me, and he bought his dad out. Now he's got this multi-million-dollar business. His first big hit was he had a big customer that making COVID test kits that wasn't going to pay, right? And he goes, what am I going to do? I said, we're going to get a good lawyer. I said, hang on to every piece of the merchant, all the merchant that you have. Don't ship it to them till they pay you. Keep it in your inventory. Long story, go to all your suppliers that you work with on this and try to mitigate the damage. Tell them what's happening, mitigate the damage. He does that. Not only to get through it, he's thriving today. But those are the kind of things that will rock your world. If you don't have somebody that says, hey, we'll get through this, just be calm, right? You know, this is bad, but we're going to get through it. We're going to figure out what's the smartest way to attack this, and don't panic. That's why I think that a good guidance, good coaching is really critical.
Did you charge him a steak meal, or
what?
Did you charge him a steak meal for that?
Yeah, you know what? He sent me a $500 gift card for the Sundara Spa, and he sends me something every year, and which is not necessary. But he's a young guy. I'm proud of him.
Yeah,
I'm happy for what he's done. Steve, if you saw his business, you'd be impressed with where he's gone. He has taken it and he's run with it, and he employs a bunch of people. He's bought a bunch of buildings now.
Great. That's great.
In the last several years. So to me, that's the part of the game where the currency is not I get paid. And in this case, the currency is I just enjoy helping to say, I helped a guy do something wonderful, and he's changing the world.
And he changed his life. He's changing the world.
Changed the world. Yep, that's for sure.
Well, that's great. If David, I don't want to cut you off, but I also want to respect your time, and I really appreciate the advice that you've given our listeners today. And is there any other things that you wanted to comment on right now?
No, I just say, you know, if the people that would watch this, if you're out there saying, I want to make it, I just think that, to me, I cheer you on, because you can do it. It seems difficult, but it's just, you get around the right people and go beyond your fears a little bit. And I would just want you to make a difference in somebody's life. I mean, to me, it's success is going to be in your world is how well you've created those P's that I've mentioned. If you put those down, if you get with the right guidance coach, somebody else that actually knows what they're talking about. Bible has a verse that says there's wisdom in many counselors. I think there's wisdom in good counselors, because I've had bad ones, right? Yep. Find good counsel, people that counsel you good. In life, you need a good doctor if you're going to get sick. Get a really good one. If you have a legal problem, you need a really good lawyer. If you have a spiritual problem, find a really good pastor, priest, minister. Find really good that. If in business, find somebody that you say, this guy runs a really good business and he manages his family while he does it, and I like the way he lives. Find that person and just say, can I buy you coffee? I would say that I have had more joy in finding guys and helping them get in that direction. And I know, I mean, I probably do in a week, I probably meet with 2 or 3 people. In fact, I was supposed to meet a guy today with this, and that's just, that's more fun now to pay it forward and to do those kind of things. But don't, here's the thing, don't do it alone. That's what I'd say. Don't do it alone. Find good people around you. Steve's the coach I met today, and I know guys that have, that just didn't have the luxury of really learning some of the principles of business. The whatever price tag you pay for a coach, it will pay its way back, plus dividends. In fact, it doesn't cost you. In fact, here's what I'll tell you. It will cost you, if you're a new business, not to have a coach. It will cost you. You'll pay through it through the school of hard knocks. And most of the time they'll even tell you, watch me in a year. And if I don't show you where I save you money, right, don't hire me again, right? Game is game, whatever length of time it is. So yeah, Steve, like I say, I think if anybody's out there, do not do it alone. Find people that will come alongside you and chase the hill and have a blast doing it.
It is amazing, and great words of advice, David. great words, sage words of advice, things that you should do, but also I would say there's some things that you have to watch out for, some saboteurs that are out there while you're running your business or trying to start your business up. So excellent. I really appreciate the tools that you provided to the audience, and your words of wisdom and advice on maintaining balance, and remember who's important in your life and what's important in your life as you go along your journey, because you're gonna be working hard and it's easy to put your nose down to the, I'll say it, the sawmill or the grindstone.
Grindstone. But have fun doing it, right? It's
Make
fun.
sure.
It's fun. It's really fun. There's to be able to realize if you do your business well, you will touch the lives of not just yourself, you'll touch the lives of all those around you, your customers, your employees, everybody else. So when I build this business now, I'm not building it for me, right? I can only eat one steak at a time, only live in one house at a time, only drive one car at a time. And so to me, it is you playing for the legacy. I think that I love, was it Gladiator, I think it was, or Braveheart. He said, what we do in this life should echo through eternity. And we should do things that make an impact in our world.
Wow.
Positive impact.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, excellent. Well, thanks again, David. We could continue on, but we have to stop, unfortunately. And I really appreciate your time today. I owe you a steak meal.
Everybody heard that. Write it down. Write it down. So you would know.
I've
Hey,
got it
thanks,
on video.
Steve, like I said, met you today. It's been a blast, and I hope that your listeners find this useful.
Excellent. Thanks again, David. Have yourself a great rest of your day, and to the listeners, we'll see you on the next episode of the Simplify and Grow podcast, and I'm looking forward to the next time we meet. Thank you, David. Take care and have a great rest of your day.